water-intensive crop. Each nut
1,900 gallons of water per pound.
That's so crazy.
And then,
oh my God,
here's my new, like, look, I'm a writer, right? So words matter to me, and when we misuse them in our society, it just bothers me, right? So all these things that we're calling milk, like almond milk,
right?
And I'm just determined to call it almond juice, because that's what it fucking is. It's not even almond juice. It's not like we're extracting.
It's almond tea almost.
We're taking almonds, pulverizing them, and brining them in water. Essentially, leaching out the flavor of the almond and then adding a bunch of shit to it and sugar and whatnot.
Adding a lot of sugar. My friend Duncan was like, dude, almond milk is good for you. I go, you ever look at how much sugar is in there? And we were on the phone, and he goes, holy shit. I go, yeah, man, that's why it tastes good. But my doctor told me I had oxalates in my diet, in my blood test. He said, your oxalates are kind of high. He goes, are you eating almonds? And I said, yeah. I eat almonds all the time. He's like, yeah, cut back. He goes, that's where it's from.
Really?
Yeah. So find out how much oxalates are in almonds. I just listened to them, and also it's a lot of like a lot of that gluten-free flour stuff. Mm-hmm. If you buy a lot of that stuff, it's like almond flour a lot of the times.
Right.
Almonds are a high oxalate food. Eating them can raise oxalate levels that circulate, get filtered by the kidneys, and appear in urine, which may increase kidney stone risk in susceptible people. Yeah. Almonds contain about 296 milligrams of oxalate per 100 grams, roughly 4 milligrams per nut, putting them in the high oxalate category. Yeah, he said they're not bad if you just have them every now and then. He goes, but don't do it on a regular basis.
Huh.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that has high oxalates. If people don't think about it, that can really fuck you up. Kale, for instance. Like
Really?
I used to drink kale smoothies all the time until another doctor told me you really should cook the kale. Cook it and then filter out whatever the water's in it. And I go, really? I go, why? He goes, oxalates. He goes, you want to cook the oxalates out of them.
Really?
Yeah, and that's apparently what causes a lot of kidney stones. With some folks, they drink a lot of those green smoothies, which I used to do every day. I used to take a bunch of kale, throw in a bunch of apples and some ginger and some garlic and blend it all up and drink at the beginning of the day. I thought I was doing a good thing. And he was like, you're just blasting your system with oxalates. And I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah, no.
Have
like, some fucking eggs, bro.
He said, have bacon. Have some bacon. I'm like, fucking bacon's better for you? Like, my journey of figuring out what to eat was a long one. It was a long one, and thank God I got this podcast, because if I hadn't had all those conversations with people where I realized, like, oh, so we're, like, and now the food pyramid's completely flipped, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
But it's like I've had enough conversations where I realized, like, oh, all these people don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and they're giving advice. And it's weird. It's weird how much bad advice there is for food and for health and for fucking fill in the blank. Almost everything in our society.
Our food pyramid was created by Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Or Kellogg's, which is Johnson.
One of those. Yeah.
It's like, how do we get people to eat our shit in the morning and then again at lunch? And then, well, the one thing that we can't control, when they talk about the one thing that we do not have is this massive industrialized meat production, because there's no economical way to do it. They'd do it if they could. Harris Ranch, which you've probably seen off I-5 in California, is the closest version of that. But what it is a feed yard, right? Where you get them together and feed cattle for 90 to 150 days before you go send them off and slaughter them, right? That's the closest thing there is to an industrialized beef industry, because it's a very inefficient way. It's way better to farm, right? It's more efficient to farm than it is graze cattle. So you only want to graze cattle somewhere that you can't farm at the end of the day. You want to graze cattle are great at taking protein from poor protein sources and metabolizing it, right? So you graze them in real rocky terrain with native grasses that you can't farm, you can't till it, you just can't. And it needs to be eaten by something or weeds will overtake it. Right, because grass grows better when it's being grazed, and so there's no way to industrialize that or centralize it. The most centralized it is at the packing house, right, where you've got 4 major packing houses that control 90-something% of the beef industry, and that's starting to change. COVID was extremely helpful for the smaller farmer and rancher to sit there and get their product out, right? And find small, they start popping up. People have opened these USDA facilities that don't process 800 head of cattle an hour. They maybe do 50 or 50 a day. And now people can go there because they're a USDA facility. They can buy beef directly from them, buy it from the rancher, right? And you can control where your food's coming from, as opposed to what was happening, where you'd get a bunch of, if you're going to go get a burger, you're eating some Australian killer bull, right? For the most part, or something from Brazil, or you're not eating something that you want to eat, right? When you go to a nice steakhouse, the steaks there they're going to come from most likely Texas, Iowa, Nebraska, Montana. There's select areas where people are spending that kind of attention and time to raise that kind of quality of beef, right? And it's being done by smaller ranchers. It may be a big ranch, but it's still operated by relatively few people. 4.6 is 300,000 acres, but there's 12 cowboys.
Wow,
For the whole
12
thing.
cowboys for 300,000 acres is nuts.
Yeah.
How do they keep track of everything?
I mean, we break it down into pastures, and then you have, and then the pastures fall under, the terminology is this. Let's say, if you're in Guthrie, there's a camp, and we call it South Camp, because it's in the South, and it's responsible for 50,000 acres, right? Which is broken down into multiple pastures that are between 7 and 10,000 acres. There's one big pasture in that camp that's like 14,000 acres. And so then you have North Camp. You have what we call, then we have camps around the town, little town of Guthrie. So you break it down into the responsibility of each cowboy's somewhere between 35 and 50,000 acres.
Wow. That's a hell of a responsibility.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work, man.
A lot of work.
What's really interesting about your shows, particularly Yellowstone, it got people like really attracted to the idea of brutal hard work as being romantic.
Yeah.
People like really identified with those guys on Yellowstone that were just like so dedicated to that ranch, so dedicated to busting their ass and working all day, hard fucking work, and then just hanging out together afterwards. And there's something about that life that's so simplistic and romantic to people that it just really resonated with so many people. They didn't even know that they liked that.
Well, it's uniquely American, right? And the amount of freedom that is. So we move somebody out to South Camp, and we go, okay, so here you are. There's your house at South Camp. See you in a week or so. Go figure shit out. Keep track of the cattle. And you give them a string of horses, and they work their horses, and they ride that property. They know every inch of it, and we don't have weekly corporate meetings.
How do they get supplies? Is like the house stocked in advance?
Yeah, or go to town. Towns, which is an endeavor, right? Town's 90 miles away, so you go to town once a week, right? And
Stock
it's an adventure. Stock up, go back.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's
a crazy life.
And people this isn't true of every cowboy. There's plenty of cowboys that typically they grow up on that ranch, and that's the life that they know, and that's what they want to do, right? But they still go off to college. Like almost every one of my cowboys has a ranch management degree. Like they went to school.
Wow.
To study.
What's a good school if you want to be a cowboy?
I mean, there's quite a few of them. Texas Tech. I mean, that's a phenomenal ranch management program. A bunch of the guys on the sixes went there. TCU has a ranch management program, a good one. Texas A&M. We have vets that live on the ranch. Obviously, we breed a ton of horses, and so our vets. Colorado State's an excellent veterinary school for large animal vets. Obviously, Texas A&M is a phenomenal school. Texas Tech as well. Those are.
Dude, how the fuck do you pay attention to everything? You're running a gigantic ranch, and you have about 48 TV shows. How the fuck do you do it? I don't understand it. Every time a new Taylor Sheridan show pops up, I say to my wife, I go, how the fuck is he doing this? Like, where does he have this time?
Part of it is, if you think about it, so my core crew is the same crew I made Wind River with. Like, when we had no money. I remember one time I'm on the top of a mountain with me and my first AD and my DP Ben Richardson, and there's not a producer. We haven't seen anybody in a week. And I looked at, we're freezing our asses off. It's 7 below zero in northern Utah. And I'm like, guys, we could just fuck off to Hawaii and nobody would know for a while. Like, we have their money, and they don't know. They don't actually know where we are. They're just trusting that we're going to make this movie, which we did. And it was incredibly difficult. But that's the same team that went over and did Yellowstone, which is then the same team that went up and did Mayor of Kingstown with me, and then 1883, 23, Lioness, Landman, all of them. And we've promoted from within. I've got PAs that are now first ADs. I've got camera operators that are now directors. So we've promoted from within, so everyone understands the way we do it, and it's so friggin' efficient. We don't ever have, and because you've been in this industry forever, these people will have meetings upon meeting upon meeting. They'll have a tone meeting where a whole bunch of people are going to sit around and try and talk about the tone of the script. What, didn't you read the fucking thing? We have to have a meeting about it? How about we don't have a meeting about it? And then they'll have a, and this is also networks. They love this shit so that they can have a reason for their existence, right? All these middle management people. And they want to do a prop show and tell where someone's going to come show them all the props that we're going to use.
Really?
Well, we don't do that shit because I'm like, I need your permission to use which Bic lighter I'm going to use in this fucking scene. How about I just make the decision? And how about we use the same Bic lighter in all these fucking shows and I don't ever have to pick a Bic lighter again? How about that? So we just streamlined it and made it to where it's so efficient. Typically a TV show will start up and they'll prep for 12 weeks before they start filming. We do it in 4.
Wow. Well, that makes sense. It makes sense that it's streamlined because I've been on shows when they first start out and it's chaos and there's a lot of network involvement and there's a lot of bullshit. But then once it gets going, they go, oh, you guys know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're there from the beginning now.
That's beautiful.
We haven't missed. If you don't miss.
Right. Well, it's like you don't miss. Like you don't miss with the writing. You don't miss with the storylines. Like you don't have any duds, man, which is incredible. It's an incredible accomplishment to have that many fucking shows and all of them be good. And all of them be, like very addictive. Landman is so addictive.
It's that show. It's about something very serious and then I can just throw shit at it.
Yeah.
Let's just take a bunch of old people to a strip club.
Billy Bob is fucking awesome.
He's a genius.
I love that guy. Yeah. He's so good on that show. It's like it was made for him.
It was made for him.
I mean, he's done so many things.
I went to Billy Bob before I wrote a word, and I told him, I said, if you don't do this, I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to chase my tail. He goes, well, what is it? I said, basically, I want to take your character from Bad Santa and put him in West Texas and run an oil company. He goes, you want the guy from Bad Santa to run an oil company? I said, that's what I want. He goes, that sounds fucking awesome. Like, yeah.
Well, it's educational too. I mean, a lot of people have no idea how the oil business works, and you watch that show, you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, what a crazy job!
It's an insane job, and the other thing about it is, we're so completely dependent upon petroleum in every single aspect of our lives. So completely dependent upon it, and we can debate how bad it is or isn't, and or not debate it. The reality is, we don't have an alternative. Like it does not exist. It simply doesn't exist. And we could sit there and say, well, wind and this. No. You sit down with any climatologist and any engineer, they're going to tell you our best hope for a replacement of petroleum fuels is cold fusion, and we're 30, 40 years from it being something that we can rely upon. And reduced little nuclear reactors, like itty bitties, like the size of this coffee pot.
That's what they're talking about. They're talking about like individual reactors that people have in their homes. Like, how long does it take before there's disasters? Like, that sounds fucking... Having a really good nuclear power plant for a city is an awesome idea. Having everyone have their own nuclear power plant sounds fucking crazy.
How
many assholes are going to cut into that thing?
Well, people still put fucking metal in microwaves, so I don't think we should be
purpose.
giving. Yeah, I've done it. I'm like, well, how bad can it really be?
There's people that leave their fucking gas on so that someone can die in the house.
No, we don't need.
People are nuts.
Yeah.
People are nuts. If you literally have consumer level nuclear power plants, Not with these monkeys. Not with the human beings that we are today, our current form. We're not enlightened enough to have personal nuclear power plants in our house.
No.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So we're dependent upon it.
Well,
and
that's
we'll
why
be.
we're in Iran right now.
Oh, yeah.
And also because of Israel. But I mean, we're in Iran. I mean, the whole thing about it is the oil. The Strait of Hormuz, it's like, I think it's 40% of the world's oil supply passes through there.
Yeah.
Christ.
No, that's and I think also China. Mm-hmm. It's a big play against. It's a chess piece against China.
Mm-hmm.